Now, the Electoral Commission of South Africa has published the provisional voters' roll for inspection after the voters' roll was closed last week. It shows that 27.6 million South Africans have registered to vote in the country's 7th democratic election on the 29th of May. Now, to help us unpack the publishing of the provisional voters' roll is Deputy Chief Electoral Officer at the IEC, Mawethu Mosery. Mr. Mosery, thank you so much for joining us at News at Prime. Now, these elections are going to be different, of course, and before we get into how different they're going to be, let's go into the inspection of the provisional roll.
Good evening to you. We have published the voters' roll for inspection. This also follows after the proclamation of the election date, the 29th of May. And as part of one of the key legal notices that we did, we also published the timetable of these elections. And together with this timetable, it gives us the election program that takes us to the 29th of May. And as part of that program, we needed to put the voters' roll in the public domain for inspection. Now, when you inspect the voters' roll, you will have to go to our 235 offices across the country. There will be a digital format there that you would look at and zoom into your particular geographic area, and you look at the names of people who are on the roll. The purpose of doing this is to allow political parties to also allow independent candidates or those who intend to be independent candidates, as well as the members of the community, ordinary citizens, to inspect the roll. And when you inspect the roll, you're looking at two things. One, whether the person who should be in that segment of the voters' roll is indeed on the roll, or you're looking for people who have been included in the roll in segments where they should not be, in which case you would want to object against their names being in that segment to be moved to a different segment, or you will be objecting to the inclusion of a particular person. For instance, if you happen to know that so-and-so is not a South African citizen, he should not be on the voters' roll, and for whatever reason you believe so, you then lodge that objection. But we always assure political parties that every person classified on our population register as a South African citizen will be on the voters' roll. Other people, no matter what form of documentation they have, if they are not classified as South African citizens, they will not be on our voters' roll. So the inspection is for that purpose. Now, everyone who wishes to object has until the 10th of March to lodge such an objection. They do so in writing at the National Office of the Electoral Commission and indicate the reasons of their objection. We expect political parties to really give this inspection period attention. We also expect those intending to be independent candidates to do the same.
Now, as we were mentioning earlier, these elections are going to be quite different for a few reasons, but one of those reasons is the introduction of independence. Now, candidate nominations are now open. What does that mean? And just take us through that process of independence as well.
Yes, indeed. The inclusion or the fact that the legal framework now allows independent candidates to contest this election, they will be contesting in this election. Let's start in provinces. They will contest any seat in the provincial legislature. So in all 9 provinces, there is a likelihood that we will have independents, as well as the National Assembly. They will be able to contest at least 200 of the 400 seats at the National Legislature, and they will do so through the seats for regional representation at the National Assembly. And therefore we will have a ballot paper at a national level focused at accommodating independents as well as political parties. So alongside independents in that ballot paper, we will have political parties. At a provincial legislature level, on the ballot paper, there will be both political parties and independents. So as voters, we need to be ready to interact with that ballot paper. Now, the requirements to contest, let's start by saying it opened on Friday, the 23rd of February, and it will close on the 8th of March, which is the coming Friday. So political parties have had close to 14 days to submit their documents, as well as independents. The documents we expect from those intending to contest, first is a notice from them saying we are contesting this election. Second, if you are an independent, you will submit your detailed particulars, and if you are a political party, you will submit your party list. And when you've submitted your party list, we will expect a payment from the political party, and we'll expect a payment from the independent. So the third requirement is a payment of a deposit. The deposit, you get it back if you win a seat during the elections. The fourth requirement is for those political parties who are not represented in the National Assembly or the provincial legislatures to then submit signatures supporting their contest of this election. Political parties are required to submit 15% of the last quota for seat allocation in the house that they intend to contest, whilst independents are required to submit 1,000 signatures. Now, we need to understand that these signatures are a portion of a number required to be allocated a seat, which in a sense tests that you have sufficient support to mount a meaningful campaign during this election process. So once you submit those signatures, you would have complied with the basic requirements to contest, and we will include you in the ballot paper.
And for now, are the applications still open for special votes? You know, voter registration drives have been closed off, of course. But what about those people who may have special circumstances?
Any form of voter registration has now been closed until after the election. So post the 29th of May, we will indicate when we reopen for voter registration. So no new voters can be added on the voters roll at this stage. But for those who are now on the voters roll and wish to apply for a special vote, particularly those who would want to apply for special votes to be visited at home, there will be a date on our timetable, which we will come back to announce again, but it's already on our timetable, which is the 24th of March, when we reopen for people to make those applications for the special votes, and those who may wish to vote elsewhere owing to various reasons. There may be those also who will apply for a special vote because they will not be available at their voting station on the 29th, and those will come to the voting station to exercise their right to vote before the proclaimed day of the 29th. The other category of people who belong to special vote are those South Africans who are out of country. They are those that registered now onto our voters roll and registered previously in the countries where they will vote. Those do not have to give us a notice. They will be automatically placed in the segment of the voters roll of that country where they registered. But if you were registered elsewhere, whether back here at home or at another country, and now you find yourself at a different country, you now have to give us notice that you will be in that country. If we make an example, if you were in United States, but you are now in United Kingdom, and your name appears in the segment of United States, you now need to give us a notice that you will be in United Kingdom on the 29th and you will vote there. We have opened for those notices to be given to the Chief Electoral Officer for processing and preparation, and you will get a notification once we have approved your name to be on the segment where you will vote. So for special votes, it's time to prepare to apply for home visits, and those who will come to the station can also apply and be pre-approved for that.
Great to know that those provisions have been made. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and good luck with all the work that's ahead of you, ahead of our elections. That was Mawethu Mosery, who is the IEC's Deputy Electoral Officer.